Hello, Bay Athlete. We're just gonna play the intro and then go back in. We're not gonna play the warm-up song or anything. People pop in, they'll pop in when they do. Alright, here we go. Going live now. And hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. This is the Go Home Wrestling Show live on YouTube, Twitch, and Mixer. I'm EJ, and alongside with me is Shep. Say hello, Shep. And, well, this is episode 1, so I'll tell you right now, at this very moment, you're going to realize that we're both crazy fans. We're not... Oh, yeah. And we're not all there. No. Of course, you're going to learn over the course of time, like, how we got into wrestling, but we'll give a brief intro. I was a guy that was into wrestling for many years, and then got mad about the PG era, tapped out, rekindled my love for wrestling, and here I am with you doing a show. And that's just a small intro. So what got you into wrestling, though? Was it the 80s? Was it the early 90s? Same here. Oh, man. Alright, I'm getting, they're saying they can't hear you. So, hold on, we're gonna try to figure this out again. Okay, try now. Say something. Apparently they can't hear you. Alright, so we're gonna see. Hold on. Bear with us, folks. This is the first episode. Alright, go ahead, say something, sir. Now, hold on. Oh my God. Yeah. Alright, Real Tech. Go ahead, say something now.
Alright, can everybody hear me yet?
You're good now. You're good now.
Okay, good.
There we go. Can't wait till Money in the Bank. Oh, we'll get into that a little bit tonight. Our big thing is we're gonna give the review on Raw, SmackDown. Nope. What do you mean?
I was shaking my head because I was already visioning Raw again and had a not so happy flashback.
Oh, yeah, we'll get it. It's first episode. It's cool. I know. We'll get there, and we're gonna be looking back at this and go, "What the hell?" And we'll trash it. You know what? A year from now, we're gonna look back at this episode. We have to shit on it because I know it's gonna be. You know.
That's fair enough.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Because we're gonna look back and be like, "Wow, we were. This is bad."
It'll be like,
Bay Athlete, thank you for the follow.
I look like a crazy fucking lunatic that just woke up from a nasty nap or something.
Oh, that's okay, man. I had a rough night coming to
Actually,
work.
no, low key, I did just wake up from a nap about an hour ago.
Oh, well, good for you.
So,
All right, so this week's episode, we're going to be covering Raw, SmackDown. Of course, when you cover pro wrestling, of course, you got to cover the big dog. And that's not always going to be the case. We're going to cover other things. There's a lot going on in the world of professional wrestling. You got Ring of Honor. You got Major League Wrestling that's starting to rise up. You got Lucha Underground that's pretty big, even though that's an episodic show, not more of a promotion. But, I mean, there's a lot of things going on in the world of professional wrestling, so we will cover them. But
it almost got that old school feel to it with all these, like, starter promotions nowadays. You know, you didn't even Booker T's promotion,
Yeah. Reality Wrestling.
Hardcore.
Yep.
I mean, there's just so many startups right now that it's a beautiful thing, and the startups are putting on sometimes just as good wrestling shows as the big names are.
Yep. And it's great. It is a great time to be a fan because 20 years ago, you had to go to your local access television show or channel to watch any promotion. Like me, growing up outside of Philadelphia, ECW was Channel 48, and it was Saturday afternoon at 5. Oh, and it looks like he dropped his camera.
Yeah.
It's the first episode. It's okay.
My little stand I made did not hold up very well.
Nah, it's all good. It's all good. But, yeah, it's a great time to be a fan. I mean, back in the day, it was hard to follow something, like, every single week. Now you got all streaming services. You got Tommy Dreamer's House of Hardcore. You can catch that on Twitch every week. He has episodic television and his major events on Saturday nights. You got Fight TV, which carries the Booker T promotion, Reality Wrestling. It covers Ring of Honor. I mean, so there's a lot to follow today as opposed to years ago. So, again, we're going to cover other things, but our go-to thing is the main dog. It's the big dog, and that's the WWE. So, I know you got a lot in the tank because you said there's a couple things on our list of what we're going to cover. It's going to get you wild up.
Mm-hmm.
Now, of course, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the first ever week in review. And we're going to start off this week with talking about Raw. Of course, there was a show on Memorial Day. And I've noticed this over the years, like any shows that run on a holiday, they really don't go too big. If you get what I'm
saying. No, they keep the Attitude Era-ish stuff in check on those weeks.
Yeah, with the B team, which we're going to cover later on, we have a similar feeling on that. But how about the first thing, the Finn Balor Braun Strowman match? How did you feel, like, going into it? Did it? Oh, it says D-Shep look older than his age. Dude, so do I. We're both that way.
Damn, I look that bad right now?
No, you look fine. You look fine. Don't.
I mean, I'll party myself up if I need to, man. Next time I can shave a little this, a little that, but damn. No, typical Braun Strowman nowadays just overpowering everybody until it comes to a big match, and then they always go back to making him look weak again. I feel like it's the same old build with him, unfortunately. So I don't know what the Balor match really does to help either guy at the moment.
I think it was a way to get him away from the tag team thing going on. Because like Braun Strowman was in all these tag team matches since the Greatest Royal Rumble. Hasn't had a real singles match. Here he is going against Finn Balor. I think it was a way to get him out of that tag team picture. That's what I think that was. When you really step back, what has he done since the Greatest Royal Rumble?
And what was what did the Greatest Royal Rumble even do for him, to be honest? Because, like you said, shortly after that, he's been in all these tag matches, and I don't see what they're doing with him. It's like every time they get you excited, like, yeah, we're starting to push him, and then they just dial it back every time.
But here's the thing. I get what you're saying there. I totally get what you're saying. But don't you like the slow build on certain things? Like, I think the slow build he is going to be that guy. I think WrestleMania is the time for him to become that guy.
I don't mind the slow build, but what I don't like is the up and down build. Like, 1 minute I'm feeling like they're pushing him, and then the next minute they're telling me, wait a minute, it's a slow build we're actually trying to do. That's what I guess I don't understand at times. My only complaint. I know it's petty.
Yeah, well, I think giving him the title anytime before WrestleMania would be a disservice to him. Disservice to his character, disservice of the build, and I think you're robbing the fans of a really good moment. So I think WrestleMania will be that time. Who he will face, I don't know at this point. I thought when they first brought Bobby Lashley in, I thought that's the guy. Even though he's been in Impact for 10 years. Yes, he was a WWE guy for a little bit. Went over there, came back here. But he was a badass, just like Brock Lesnar. He was a heel over there in Impact, like Brock Lesnar in a way. I thought that was a guy. But, again, we'll get into that because he's going to be the topic of discussion next week on In the Corner. But I thought he was going to be the guy that Strowman would face at WrestleMania. I could see that. That's, in my eyes, I could see that happening. And being a good matchup for the title.
And I guess if they do decide to go that route, they can slowly start that feud around Survivor Series time by having them both on the same team.
Yeah.
And just... lately, it seems like the build for WrestleMania truly starts at Survivor Series now.
Yeah.
It used to always start at the Rumble, but it almost always starts around Survivor Series time now. If you would have asked me 6 months ago, though, when they first started booking Braun Strowman, I assumed that they were building towards Braun and Lesnar at SummerSlam. That's what my gut feeling was all along.
Yeah.
Then, like you said, they brought Lashley in. So then I'm like, all right, Lashley's going to be the match at SummerSlam.
Mm-hmm.
Nope, that doesn't look like that's going to happen either. Mm-hmm. It's not going to be Roman again, and I'm sure we'll go into further details on a SummerSlam prediction here in a couple weeks or so, maybe start getting the early feelers out there. But I guess I just don't understand who's that next guy for the time being. While I can get on the same page with you for Braun and Mania, I guess I'm looking for, well, what's happening between now and Mania with everybody involved. Braun, Lashley, Brock.
Okay, now, with all that, yeah, he's going to be the guy. I don't know, like, as far as the title, I know without a doubt Braun Strowman is going to be the guy going in, chasing the title, going into WrestleMania. It's interesting to see because we know why they kept the strap on Brock Lesnar. That's to beat CM Punk's record, and that's a FU to CM Punk, and we all can see that.
Yeah.
Now, who's going to carry that title? Is it going to be 2 short terms, or is there going to be a guy that's going to hold it for a long period of time going into WrestleMania? Who is that guy at this point? They wanted it so bad to be Roman Reigns, but we're going to get into that tonight in the first installment of In the Corner on the show, but I can't see it being that guy. They won't accept that. So who's the guy at this point? Who do you think could be that guy?
They do have the perfect guy if they figure out how to do it right, and that's Bobby Lashley. Because no one's going to give a fuck if he wins the belt, and no one's going to care how long he keeps it.
Yeah,
the only thing they're going to care about is if it's done in the right way.
Yeah.
If it's done in the right way, and then you could always even put it back on Brock, Survivor Series or the Rumble, and still have your Strowman-Brock match. And Brock could still break that record here. Well, how much longer is it until he breaks the record?
I think it's about a week or 2 away. He's that close to it.
So realistically, he still could possibly face Lashley
at SummerSlam and drop the title.
SummerSlam.
Yeah. Now it depends how, because this bout's obviously going to be in June, so it's a 2-month build. Now, my question, going off topic of the Strowman angle, the character, what was the point of the Sami Zayn feud? What was that going to accomplish? Was that to accomplish that he's a badass? No, I think, in my opinion, it should have been a series of squash matches with decent guys, and then possibly knocking off a big guy. And making him more legit.
Sami is the only reason that angle is even working as much as it is.
He's getting better with Mike.
You would have to think that they're going to have Lashley just obliterate Sami, I would think.
Oh, I hope so. And that might be the thing they might go with. Oh, look, he wiped this guy out. Now we're going to start the build. Maybe we could start something. Or maybe Brock could make an appearance at this and do something to Sami Zayn or to Lashley, giving Sami Zayn the win, thus creating a rivalry between him and Brock going into SummerSlam. We don't know. Again, at this point, it's all speculation. I could see, as far as the SmackDown side, I'm seeing Bryan, Miz, WrestleMania.
Oh, you would have to think. I almost like the fact that when Miz went back over to SmackDown, they didn't just dive into that right away. They teased it very little, and then they just kind of backed off of it. And everybody's just chomping at the bit for that feud.
Yeah, and honestly, I think it's good because you got him, and then you're going to have obviously other big names when they go over to Fox next October. You're going to need the draws to watch that show on Friday night again.
They say it may even be live on Friday night.
Oh well, they said it's going to be live.
How are they going to pull that off? Because SmackDown's always been on Tuesdays as far as on TV, or if they were recording it, it's always been Tuesdays.
Yeah, Wayne Cypress, thanks for the follow. And Lone Cal as well. Over on Mixer and Bay Athlete, thank you. I'm sorry. What were you saying? My ADD got the best of me there. What was your last line? Because I was going to bounce off that.
No, my thought is, SmackDown being on Fridays now, it's always been on Tuesday. Yeah. I thought the reason when they used to be on Fridays that they never went live on Fridays on USA or Sci-Fi was that it was too tricky with the house show situation. So how exactly is that going to work in their favor now? Why can they pull it off now as opposed to, say, a year or two ago, they couldn't pull it off?
Well, I think the obvious explanation will be the restructure of the house shows and shows. Honestly, think about this, though. They were on Sci-Fi, they were on UPN, they were on USA, but they haven't been on a network like Fox.
Think about that. Time.
It's big time, man. And this is a show that's considered the B show, not the A show, the B show. And they're going to be on a major network. So if they do it Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I think they're going to draw a huge crowd either way. I myself, it'd be awesome to wake up Saturday morning and be like, you know what? Because I might not be able to catch it live. I might be able to. But most weeks I'm going to watch it on delay. And I'll watch it when I get up in the morning. I think it'd be cool. I think it'd be good for them. But here's the thing. Is SmackDown going to be the quote-unquote B show once that happens? Would they put Ronda over there? Because I'll tell you right now. They'll keep Miz. They'll keep Miz there. Who would they bring over there?
If I had to guess, they would bring over anybody that's not considered edgy. Because I think out of the two shows, SmackDown's going to turn into the more PG show, I would think. But
that's
then
fine.
Again,
you could do it creatively that way. There's a way they could do it.
I mean, there's guys like Samoa Joe that's already over there.
Yeah.
That he can somehow make the PG method, if you would, still come off as aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
He's one of the few that can pull that off. Who do you throw over there with him?
Ronda Rousey.
If she gets better on the mic.
No. I think we discussed this, like you were saying on his stream earlier today when we were talking on Twitch. By the way, D-Shep, promote your Twitch channel.
Oh, yeah, I could do that.
Yeah. He does it. You said it perfectly. It would have been awesome to have Rowdy Piper be the mouthpiece for her. But since he passed, he's no longer with us. The next best thing is the greatest on the mic, Paul Heyman.
I think it's something like that.
Yep. Oh, there you go. You got it? Good shit. So, that's who I think should be the guy.
Channel, mostly MLB, Madden, stuff like that.
Yep, there you go.
Soon to be WWE 2K.
Hell yeah. Alright, so, yeah. So, that match, I thought it was a decent match. I like the interference from Kevin Owens. Anytime he gets in there and causes trouble, I love it.
Kevin Owens is gold. He just... I haven't heard him say no wrong.
Yep, exactly. Electrified Gaming says, in my opinion, they might bring back some old school people to come to SmackDown when they go to Fox. They could.
Is that when we finally see Mysterio back, you think?
That would be good. It would definitely be good.
I mean,
that
would appeal to a totally different market. I mean, you've had your other bums out there like Sin Cara and whatnot, but to appeal to that whole new market plus moving to the network TV, that'd be smart. I would say Mysterio, and like you said, Ronda could probably use it.
Yeah,
I think Ronda and Asuka belong on the same show too. I mean, that match needs to happen in my opinion.
But you know what? Someone countered my point today and said it might not be Rousey because there might be a little bit of bad blood because they were cutting their ties with the UFC, Fox and UFC cutting their ties. You know, the relationship. So they a lot of people. I was like, yeah, but wouldn't you want a big name like that on the program on your major network? I would. I would be like, screw the UFC. We're done with them. We're moving on with WWE. And if you want star power on that network show. You just don't want your quote unquote your B guys. If you want to go with that, I don't want to say that because I like both shows. In my opinion, SmackDown is better. That's my opinion. I don't know how anyone else in chat feels.
So typically, you know, speaking on that though, we normally have the draft or the shake-up or whatever they call it every year around late April, early May, right after WrestleMania.
Yeah.
With the move to SmackDown next year on Fox in October, does the draft happen late in the summer next year instead? Or can you really have, let's say, a draft in April and then a shake-up in October, early October? Because you got to do something, don't you?
You could do shake-up at the same time and then just build relationships so by the time it goes on to Fox, it's not like people, you're going to create a new audience, but most of the people that are watching it on USA are going to come over to Fox. I mean, they're going to pick up new people and they're going to gradually get the, what's going on. So, no, I think they would still go with the same late April, early May superstar shakeup. I don't think they're going to go any later than that. Give them time to build something on that show. Give them time, to get familiar with that roster and all. Nah, I think it'll be fine the way they do it. Electrified says, if he doesn't retire, maybe Cena on SmackDown. I think, definitely. Big name.
Well, I think Cena on SmackDown is just mainly going to be like for like the debut show on Fox or something, and you ain't ever going to see him again because, he's taking a little sneak preview for how I feel about Roman Reigns later.
All
that stuff that Cena used to say about The Rock a few years ago, kind of doing the same thing now.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, is this a new show? Yes, it is, Just Merv.
New show.
New show.
New show with an old guy.
Thank you for the follow,
Just guy. Merv. Not the guy, but the other guy.
We're both ugly. I'm kidding. Because everyone's saying we're ugly. So let's just own it up now, okay?
Yeah, might as well own it.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. They said we're old looking. Okay, we're old looking.
Oh. Well, see, at least us old ones, man, we've seen the pre-attitude, the attitude, and the PG eras. We've seen it all, so...
You know what's funny, though? You know what my favorite era is? The 70s. And I like going over on YouTube and watching a lot of the old school wrestling shows on there.
Oh, speaking of that, you know what I seen for the first time today? It was on Twitter. I forget who the hell tweeted out today, but somebody had a short little clip video of Randy Orton's dad, Bob Orton,
Cowboy
doing
Bob
an
Orton.
RKO 16 years before Randy ever did. I think it was from the late 70s, early 80s.
Yeah, it was, what's the Superstars? There was another show they had. It was the mid-80s. It wasn't Tuesday Night Titans. Oh, what was the other one?
Saturday Night Main Event?
No, it was a Monday night show. Primetime Wrestling. That's what it was. Just Merv on chat on Mixer says, okay, I'm looking at Vibe, guys. Haven't watched wrestling in a very long time, but still has a place in my heart. You know what? Believe it or not, Just Merv. I was that guy, too. Just recently, a few months ago, rekindled my love for wrestling. And you know what? I'm not embarrassed to say people could break my balls. My wife breaks my balls about it, but I enjoy it. I enjoy watching it, enjoy talking about it. So that's what we do here. And he says, I'm from the early Raw days of Stone Cold vs. The Rock. Man, was that a great rivalry. And, yeah, that was a great time during the Attitude Era, pre-Attitude, because they were even around for that part before it, really shook it up. And I like the rivalry even then. The IC title era between them two, the rivalry. But, yeah, well, I'm glad you enjoyed the show, and, hey, spread the word. Okay, so...
Yes.
So we're going to move along because we actually, half hour in.
Yeah, we got sidetracked.
Yeah, we did. But hey, that's the beauty part of the show.
I knew that was going to happen.
Oh, it's okay.
We got sidetracked for about 20 minutes, and it wasn't even Roman Reigns' time.
Oh, God. I can't wait for that. All right, so we're going to move along. And right after that match with Finn Balor and Braun Strowman, we had the Jinder Mahal, Seth Rollins, IC title defense. I think this was probably Jinder Mahal's best matches in a while. That's me. A lot of people give him crap because he does, I guess he missteps quite a bit. He misses a few things here and there. But in that match, I thought he looked really solid. I don't know how you felt. How did you feel about Jinder's performance if you caught that?
He looked a lot better. He looked, I wouldn't say more polished, but he looked less lanky out there,
Yeah.
He always feels like when you're watching a Jinder match that he's so off balance and nothing looks like it's flowing smooth. But it seems like it don't matter who it is. Whoever gets in the ring with Seth, somehow Seth makes them the best version of themselves.
Yeah, you always get that guy. And I was talking with someone about
And Shawn Michaels used to be that guy, a guy that Seth gets compared to all the time. He's just that guy that brings the best out of people, and you got to have workhorses like that. But yeah, Jinder definitely stepped it up this past week compared to probably the last 3 months.
Yeah, Ring of Honor is on tonight. Yes, I'll be watching it on a Fight TV. They're in New York. Oh, I can't wait to catch that. Actually have enough credit that I don't even got to pay cash on this one. Okay, so I agree with you with that. It was a great match between Jinder Mahal and Seth Rollins. Of course, I mean, it was a DQ. Seth didn't win, though, but the thing I liked at the end is when Seth Rollins was up on the stage and Elias, because he interrupted Elias for the start of the match. Then Elias came out and just hit him with the guitar. Now they announced that they're going to face each other for the IC title at Money in the Bank. What's your feelings on that? Is it?
I absolutely love it. The only thing that I haven't liked is ever since that last pay-per-view. Who did Elias face again? Refresh my memory on that.
On the last pay-per-view. Oh.
He lost.
God, that was like a 4-hour pay-per-view. I'm trying to remember. I'm sorry.
I know. It brain fart. Anyway,
yeah.
It doesn't matter really for my point.
No.
My point is they seem to go. You could sense something big was coming because they were going out of their way to make him look weak on all his song stuff that he does.
I love those segments.
I love them. I love them. But it almost seems like he came out one time, and just walked out and never even played the song. Then another week, he would get interrupted. Then he's been fantastic, but I almost knew I wanted the shock factor, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And I felt like I knew something big was coming.
Yeah.
Because they were just slow playing it so well. And that's why I was going back to my earlier point on the other stuff was that I like the slow builds.
Yeah. Oh, I definitely. That's the old school guy.
Know what's coming. I just don't like the slow builds when it's building up, back down, building back up, back down. With Goliath, I think they've done it all step by step from the early days when he first started. The Cena stuff right away.
Yeah.
And you could just tell that he had that it factor instantaneous with the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Okay,
I'm happy for Elias. They're going to have a fantastic. That's probably going to be the match of the night.
Well, dude, when you think about it, I think the Miz Seth Rollins match stole the show in the last pay-per-view. This could be potentially a show stealer as well.
Absolutely. I'm more excited about, for a one-on-one match, that's the match I'm most excited about.
Oh, so am I. So am I. Even though we heard of the news of Big Cass and Daniel Bryan again, but, I mean, it is what it is. I think it's just, I think
that's
Daniel
my
Bryan,
feelings on that.
Well, again, a slow build to WrestleMania. I feel that by WrestleMania, he'll be champion again. I think this is a step for Daniel Bryan. Well, we'll get into that when that comes. But overall, I'm excited for this IC title match. It was a great match for Seth Rollins and Jinder Mahal. And I'm looking forward to the 17th when they face each other for the IC title. Now, after that, another great match with Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt against the Ascension. What do you think of that pairing between Wyatt and Hardy? What do you feel of that pairing? Do you think that was a good thing for the tag team division on Raw or WWE in general?
I think it was, but I almost feel like there's something missing from it. Like, if we weren't going to get Jeff Hardy in the group, which I understand why he went to SmackDown, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
If we weren't going to get Jeff Hardy in the group, why couldn't we have gotten Sister Abigail? Yes, I know how they played it off, that she's dead or buried under that one house that Randy Orton burned down that one time or whatever, but
yep.
Don't it just feels like everything set up beautifully and they forgot to put the icing on the cake.
I think eventually you would see something out of that. I think you're gonna see a Sister Abigail, a part of that group.
You know, speaking on that though, it just popped in my head right now. You know how when they announced that Sanity was coming to SmackDown, right?
Yeah.
Literally everybody from that group is coming to SmackDown but the girl. Well, I forget her name off the top of my head.
Yeah, I know you, yeah.
Could that be a possibility?
That could be.
Or do you need to go with someone that hasn't already been on WWE TV?
I think for an angle like that, yeah, I guess that character, you'll have to go with someone that hasn't been seen on WWE television. Or even for, well, actually, yeah, I think you would have to go with someone new. But it was rumored that they found someone months ago. I don't know whatever happened with that. That's the one thing, follow through is a big problem today on certain angles. They kind of just like let it go, and that it is what it is.
Isn't that how the Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt storyline was supposed to end? Was that it was going to be the debut of that person they found for Sister Abigail?
I guess so,
and
yeah.
that was going to be the end of it, and Bray was actually going to go over him? Or was the plan all along to team them up? I guess we'll never know, but...
I like the whole Matt Hardy Bray Wyatt because
I love it.
It's a great clash.
To me, they don't get enough TV time, though, you know?
But you know what? They're the guys on Raw.
Yeah.
Well, the main guys on Raw. I mean, they gave them a push right there. I mean...
No. I'm just saying more time on the mic, just simply because they're gold on the mic. And all we get is I mean, I've seen one too many little promos for the background where they just laugh at each other.
Some of the recent one was Matt Hardy when they were like traveling through time and they were showing like imposed pictures of them and doing the Revolutionary War and then doing this and it's like, oh, we're part of history. Yeah, they do funny sketches, but I think it's a great thing for the tag team division. It was a dime.
No, I do love the team name too, the Leader of Worlds. Yeah, that's perfect.
I love the fact that they, it's bringing back, like they teamed up Cesaro and Sheamus, two people that were like top guys at one point. Then they kind of faded away, and here they are, they're a tag team. They're trying to rebuild that tag team division, and then you got to find the right guys to do it. You find it with Cesaro and Sheamus. You found it with Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt. You got the Bludgeon Brothers. Look at Luke Harper. I've seen him when he first came in compared to now. That dude, incredible. He's going to be a WWE champion one day, but for now, he's at a good spot. That's my opinion.
Is he going to be a champion someday after he gets repackaged, though? Or does he keep the same get-up?
I don't know. Again,
I almost feel like you have to just completely shock the world, give him a haircut, maybe even shave part of the beard, and just debut him as some kind of new monster at some point.
Electrifying on chat goes, maybe Bray and Hardy versus Braun and Nick at WrestleMania for the titles, maybe. Oh, yeah, that was a little weird, but honestly, I saw what they were trying to do there.
Speaking of that, though, I mean, we're talking about tag teams right now, and how the hell aren't we talking about the B team?
The what?
The B team.
Oh, because we're going to get into that later on in the show.
Well,
okay.
They are setting up for the B team versus Bray and Hardy, so it kind of stays on topic. I'm ready to talk about the B team soon. Okay,
we could talk about that real good. And then we could go back to the other matches. Now, you had a segment, because it followed. The event pretty much fell on. Oh my God, Shep.
Dude, I'm telling you right now, if they start selling them B Team shirts on WWE.com, that's going to be the first shirt I bought on that website in probably 10 plus years.
Well,
the last shirt I bought was the CM Punk shirt, so maybe a little less than 10 years.
Okay, well, I'll give you one. DX06. Remember, I fell off for a while, came back in. That's how I.
Yeah.
And I've been to, like, every major show. So luckily, I tapped out, right after Survivor Series 06. Because I couldn't say,
there was some dark times. There was definitely some dark times.
Yeah, I'm catching up. That's why I got WWE Network. I want to make those.
No, you went out of it at the right time, though. A lot of people went out and they started coming back, and I think the ship hasn't been going this smooth in quite a long time. As much as people do bitch on the internet these days, the ship is doing pretty damn good right now.
Well, that's my thing. I'm glad you said that. People do bitch about the product, but if it was so bad, then how did they get a 5-year, $1 billion deal with Fox for their B show? Technically, their B show.
Well,
if they were
not only
that, bad,
but they just got triple the money for Raw.
Exactly. If they were doing so bad, then how come they still bringing in that kind of money? That's like that's FU money.
Do you want the number one reason that they're doing so well?
Go ahead.
He's doing so good that he's even bringing the XFL back, though.
Yeah.
That's how well they're doing. And he lost so much money on that. This man just desperate to lose that money.
All right, so going on to that thing, of course, the show was on Memorial Day. They had a barbecue, and since we're going to stay on the topic of the B team, we're going to skip ahead on the show with the B team barbecue. Now, and here I plays that. Now, what was your thoughts? Like, how did you take the B team barbecue as far as them? Did it benefit them? Did it hurt them? Did it hurt them at all?
I think any more that you get them on TV benefits everybody. And I'm a complete homer. If Bo Dallas, if I ever met him in real life, I'm walking right up to the man saying, I boldly. I think he needs to bring that catchphrase back. I think that's the only thing missing. I think it fits with the whole B team, mystique and whatnot.
Yeah.
But I think they're two of the most underrated talents that the company has, and I'm finally happy they're getting their shot.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, because people are complaining, it's like, oh, they're shitting on the tag team division by putting them in a segment like that. It's like, no, this is like the Smash TV you saw back in 1999 when Russo was there. These were the segments you saw during the Attitude Era. And what you saw out of these guys, they were they were like the entourage. They were what do they call them? Lackeys.
Mizra.
Well, I mean lackeys or whatever. They were in the shadows of the Miz.
Yeah.
And then of course he goes to SmackDown. What are they left with? Well, they got to do something, and of course they can't. Whether it's writing and if they have input, they're making something happen with these guys. And again, they're trying to build on the tag team division. They Wyatt, Hardy, Cesaro, Sheamus. Then you got the B team with two great talents of Curtis Axel and Bo Dallas. And they're trying to take something which is comedic right now, but a year from now, God knows where it'll be if this hits off pretty good.
I think it is. And the reason I think it is the cherry on top that's going to send that rocket ship flying upwards for them.
Yeah.
Is we all know him and Bray Wyatt are brothers in real life. They haven't acknowledged it on TV, but we know it.
And you know who they're the son of?
What's that?
You know who their father is, right?
Yeah, Mike Rotunda, IRS.
Oh, okay.
Come on, man. Don't test me.
Okay, I'm just.
Anyways, when that match for the titles happens within this next month,
yeah,
and you have that first stay down, I'm too excited right now.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
You have that first stare down between Bray and Bo in the ring. It's going to be fantastic. I loved every bit of it.
It would be like Undertaker Kane all over again.
Yeah. And then, one other thing I want to slide in about tag teams, just because we're on tag teams right now, is are they going to bring back American Alpha? Or what's going on with that? They keep teasing it like it's going to happen, but then they keep saying Jason Doran's ready, and Chad Gable keeps getting beat up by multiple people every week.
Yeah, he's definitely been an enhancement talent as of late. But, again, that could build him up, sadly. It's a unique take to build someone up, and in that time, waiting for the team to form back up, it could happen. I guess we just got to sit back and wait on that one.
Well, if the B team wins the titles, and shortly after they win the titles, they just get absolutely obliterated by a reunited American Alpha, would that be how you could book it?
No. If I was to book it, I would say, in my opinion, give the B team till Survivor Series, then give them the titles. And I'll tell you why. They're still trying to figure out where they're going with this. And if you give them the titles at this point, while they're still trying to build their characters, then it's at a standstill.
I can see that. I'm just
because you're developing these guys and you give them the title, and then it's like, okay, well, this is working. Let's just stick with this instead of building their character more and more and more. So by the time
3MB's never coming back, Electric 5. Stop it.
So by the time Survivor Series comes, they found who they are. They're still going to develop, but at least by then, they would be more established, if you get what I'm saying. I think it would be a disservice to them. It would hurt them by giving them the straps this early. I think you got to give it time.
I've always had a big issue, especially with wrestling. When I'm excited about something, I want it now.
I understand. And so many people on the internet feel that way.
I wanted that just monster match, and that's it, from those two guys later to be named that we're going to talk about from SmackDown. I've been waiting on that.
Okay.
I'm ecstatic about this B team stuff.
Oh, so am I.
It's hard for me to dial it back and appreciate the process sometimes.
Okay.
Because I love what I'm seeing so much that it's hard for me to reel it back in sometimes. But I understand it's a slow process sometimes.
Oh, trust me. I get that way too. And knowing what's coming out of WrestleMania, Miz and Bryan for the title. But as much as I can't wait for that to happen, it's like, no, I want to see that build. That's the old school in me. This is what I don't like about pay-per-views every single month. Because back in the day, you had 4. And then they eventually made a 5th one with King of the Ring. You had Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, SummerSlam, Survivor Series. Then they put King of the Ring in the middle for the summer. I love that because it allowed time to build a storyline between two guys. Because it's weird that you got a pay-per-view in April. Then, okay, they start a new one. Then they got a pay-per-view in May. So you got a month to build something. As opposed back in the day, you had 4 to 5 months in between each pay-per-view to build something. I thought that was better. That's the old school in me. So when I see things like this, I like to wait. I like to see the build. And we're going to see it with the B team. I guarantee you by the end of the year, they're going to be champions. I think it would be a disservice to them to give it to them too soon.
No, I know you're right on that. My head says you're right on that, but my heart wants something different.
Oh, I understand. It's the same thing to me. Again, I want that right away now. B team, working for me. Let's make our own shirts, by the way, for next week's show. We're going to rep our B team shirts.
Those would be some really awkward shirts, but yeah, all for it.
Okay. For me, it'd be B cups, you know. All right, so we're going to move along. Now, there's a couple more things, and then we'll jump on the SmackDown. First thing, real quick, Kevin Owens, Bobby Roode. What did you think of that match? Because in my opinion, I thought that was like the second best match of the night.
I really didn't have any big takeaways from it, and the only reason I didn't have big takeaway from it is because I don't understand what in the blue hell they're doing with Bobby Roode.
I don't know either. It seems like it's in a standstill. I think the guy should, with Bobby Roode, maybe we could have him later on a in the corner segment in the future. But as of right now, since we're discussing him, I think Bobby Roode should be that heel, man. The promos, I was watching NXT with the promos he was cutting over there. It's like, how did you turn him face like that? Why would you do that? Yes, you would get that excitement of the guy being on SmackDown or Raw right away. It's like, oh, the initial shock, people get excited. But then you don't want to keep it going. The guy was doing good as a heel. I think they should have kept it that way. And I don't know. I guess they haven't figured out a home for him yet as what they're going to do with that guy.
Yeah, I know what Kevin Owens is, and I love it.
Mm-hmm.
But I just don't know what Bobby Roode is, so I don't know what that match was supposed to do for either guy. I agree that on the surface, watching the match, yeah, it was a solid match, but I just came out of it not knowing what was going on.
Well, that's the thing, though. Like, back in the day, when you would watch shows on Primetime Wrestling, and I'm talking about in the 80s and 90s, you had those matches that it's like, oh, it's just a regular wrestling match. To me, it was a regular wrestling match. It's just two guys competing for that night. And I think it was also an opportunity for Bobby Roode to, like, elevate himself while he's there. And Kevin Owens is, one of the top guys on Raw. So I think the pairing of the two, I think it did well for Bobby. And then also, I think it did help Kevin Owens. I mean, to build his heel persona, getting that steal because, he did a roll up and then grabbed the tights. Did that old-fashioned win. I like that. Mean Maniac 2018, thank you for the follow on Mixer. But I honestly think of all the matches Bobby Roode has had on Raw. Do you think that was his best one so far?
Purely from a wrestling match, it's right up there, definitely.
Yeah, because I've been saying, like, his matches have been kind of flat since he came up. And I've been following, like, for a few months now. And obviously, after when he first came, onto the main roster. And like, his matches were kind of flat. There was something there, it wasn't coming out. I kind of saw a little bit of that in the match with Kevin Owens. So, that's what I'm saying.
Well, going back to what you said, though, is a lot of that flatness have to do with him not being super comfortable playing the face.
Yeah, that could be a
lot.
lot.
Not playing the heel. Because one of his best qualities, which not all the heels have, is not just being a heel on the mic, but the heel tactics, like you were just talking about with Owens, that he has them down pat. Bobby does not really seem like a guy that's comfortable playing a face.
Yeah, I think is it too late though to make that? Well, you could always do a turn.
Oh, definitely.
He could always do a turn, but it seems cheap. I guess they would have to build a program now, because they already have him as a face. I think at this point you can just give him that cheap turn. I think they would have to build something now and then make the turn. If you want to save him, because all that time they put into him in NXT and then bring him up and do nothing with him, it's sad. It's sad. My opinion, though, because when I first saw, I was like, I saw him going up to SmackDown. I did not see him going to Raw.
To me, he should have stayed on SmackDown.
Yeah, and it's a sin. Okay, so we're gonna move along, and we're gonna tap into this real quick, and then we're gonna go on to the SmackDown because we're almost an hour into the show. The Bobby Lashley Sami Zayn segment. Okay, obviously Sami Zayn, he did a skit a week before where he had 3 wrestlers dressed up as women posing as Lashley sisters. And it was to lure them in, and they were going to attack them, blah, blah, blah. Well, the bit failed, in my opinion. I thought it was awful. I mean, there's ways you could come about that angle, and that just wasn't it. But the LGBTQ community got, upset about that skit, and to the point that Sami Zayn had to issue an apology because people thought that was fake. No, there was a legitimate heat for that segment. So, what do you think of that the previous week's segment? What did you think of that segment overall? Did you think it was a hit or miss? As far as that, like trying to build this storyline between them two.
It was a total miss, but Sammy himself almost pulled it off. Almost. I think maybe it wasn't a total miss. It was just a miss.
Yeah.
Because who in the bright mind had that thinking that was a good idea? I mean, they just went through the drama. Oh, I forget who it was, but it was within the last 6 months. They had somebody brought out a midget instead of the rival guy. I forget what feud this was.
Oh, they've done that plenty of times, like the Booker T with The Rock.
No, but they just did it recently with the feud.
Big Cass and Daniel Bryan. I think that's
they just caught a lot of flack about that, about using the midget with that, and then they come around within a couple weeks and they're throwing women or guys in dresses, and it was just uncomfortable.
All right, so you thought it was a mess. Now, going on to what you were just saying there, but there's you just came up with 2 examples of the PC culture invading wrestling. Do you think the PC culture is starting to really hurt wrestling now and sports entertainment?
I think it's just hurting sports in general, because look at all the stuff, without going too crazy into this topic, all the shit that the NFL is going through with the kneeling policy and all that's coming about now. It don't seem, no matter where you go, nowadays, you're offending somebody.
Oh, yeah. But here's the thing. In the past, you didn't have social media for them to vent on, stirring shit up. And people, if you didn't like it, you just don't support the product. If you didn't like that skit, you don't support WWE. But we're in the age that everyone has an opinion. Yeah, you have an opinion. But with that opinion, their opinion is to destroy everything. Let's take it all down. And then we'll move on.
Yeah, but one last thing I want to say about that is that it's one thing to have your opinion on what a company's doing, like WWE or NFL or whoever, but who the F are you to tell other people what their opinion should be about a product? Like, me and you. Like, you may have not liked this segment that much, but we all love how Sammy tried to pull it off.
Mm-hmm.
So even though we don't necessarily agree with it, we're not tearing the company down. We're trying to appreciate the few good factors from the segment that were out there. And I hate seeing...
Oh, there's going to be things that we're going to like.
I keep going back to the NFL, though.
Mm-hmm.
That everybody, like you said, wants to tear stuff down nowadays. And I just would love to see it where, for all the talk that we're supposed to take everybody's feelings into consideration, that's what those people always say, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then the moment that those people have to take other people's into consideration, then they don't even. So, that's my opinion. I don't know if that made much sense or not.
To piggyback off of what you said, the PC culture, I feel they need to lay off of wrestling. They need to lay off any form of entertainment. Because it's an art. It's an expression, and it's not going to hit home forever. It's not everyone's going to enjoy that. But just because you don't like it doesn't mean other people don't like it. People are going to enjoy that. The best thing for you to do is just not support the product. Don't watch the shows. Don't give them money.
Let the other people that enjoy it, and don't try to tear down their opinion.
No, but we lost that in this country. But again, that's a political thing. I'm not getting into that. So, all right. So overall, in conclusion, as far as Raw, 1 to 5, what would you rate it?
I'd probably say 3.5, to be honest.
Really? Okay. Well, that's a lot higher than me. Despite the fact that you had 2 great matches. But I got to take into consideration, it was a Memorial Day show. I'm giving it a 2.5. Giving it a half. It still passes. But I think next week, it would be a much bigger show. I don't think they put too much effort into it because it was a Memorial Day show. They thought, hey, our fans, for the most part, they may catch it, they may not. We're not thinking about that. It's Memorial Day. I think that was on their mind when they were doing that show and when they were writing for that show. You know nothing about wrestling. That's okay. We'll teach you. This is a classroom. Professor Jeff and Professor EJ here. We're going to teach you everything.
I can't handle myself sometimes. You want me to teach people? See, Country just said in your stream a little bit, she said I can't multitask, man. You're asking a lot of an old guy here, man.
I can't teach nothing. All right. Well, let's move on to SmackDown now, too. The very next night, SmackDown. I'm real excited. I was excited for Daniel Bryan, Samoa Joe. I was amped. Haven't seen that since 06. I was still following during that time when them two went at it. As a matter of fact, that was in Philadelphia. I was there for that show.
I know you do.
Then the segment happened. The opening segment where, Samoa Joe and Daniel Bryan were talking their crap, getting ready for the match, and then who came stumbling in? The 7-foot-tall Big Cass. Pretty much telling us that we've been robbed of a dream match on a TV.
Yeah. I immediately did not get excited for the rest of SmackDown after that.
It kind of killed it for me. I felt that way too. And don't get me wrong. We'll get into that, but I was looking forward to that Bryan and Joe match, but I think it was like a bait. It was a bait and switch. They got you sucked in, and then boom. Yeah, we switched it up.
Haven't they always done that around Daniel Bryan, though?
Yeah, they kind of done that. I mean, he won the title, 2013 at SummerSlam, only to drop it.
Isn't this tactic of building him up just to tear him back down?
I think that's the angle, though.
Old?
You know what? I think that's an angle that they're going to work because it's a slow build to WrestleMania. Because here he is.
I think it's going to work this time.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean just because it's going to work this time that I'm exactly happy with it, though.
Well, I see it this way as far as Daniel Bryan. You're going to see the up and down. But you know what? You're going to see that little bit of a self-doubt. Oh, did I make the right decision coming back and wrestling? And then you're going to see that little bit of a doubt. You're going to see that build, and by WrestleMania, it'll all pay off. And he finally goes, you know what? I'm glad I came back. I'm glad I kept going. I didn't give up. Here's my chance. Now I'm the top guy. That's what I see out of it. But going on to that match. Now, at this point, though, if we were to see that match, Daniel Bryan's only been back, a couple months? Would have been a quality match with Samoa Joe? Or do you think that would have been an type of match?
I think it could have still been a solid 8 out of 10 match, to be honest. I would have still had Samoa Joe win cleanly.
Yeah.
to, solidify Samoa Joe. Not that he really needs it, but it's still kind of cool to see. And you could have still had Daniel Bryan looking strong off that.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't excited about including Big Cass again.
Yeah.
In this feud. The three-way turned out better than I thought it did. The actual match itself did.
Well,
but
why?
I'm not excited about another Big Cass Daniel Bryan match still.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was a good match still, but who was involved in it for the most part? It was Bryan and Samoa Joe, but then you had Big Cass that would come in once in a while. That's what I felt the match was. Now, what do you feel about Big Cass's character? Do you feel like it's a bland character? Do you see anything out of that? Or do you just see a 7-foot guy, and that's it?
Is there a word that is somehow worse than bland? Because when I think of bland, I think of Bobby Lashley. So, and I think Bobby Lashley has at least a little something that Big Cass don't. So, what would be the word? Extra bland? Yeah.
Oh, I got it. X-Pac. He X-Pac'd it. Because, dude, if there was no guy outside of DX was so bland as a character, it was X-Pac. That's why they let him go. That's what I say.
When there's two guys in WWE right now.
Yeah.
That basically, they used to always joke around that the Divas, when it was still the Divas, was the piss break of either show. To me, the piss break is when Roman Reigns comes out and when Big Cass comes out. Right now. That's my piss break. I'd rather sit through the 10-minute Diva match where I know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Than sit through a cringe-worthy Big Cass promo or yet another lame attempt at the guy being the guy.
All right. Apple Sacks, thank you for watching on Mixer. I like Daniel Bryan, but there's a lot of other dudes you should invest in, like Baron Corbin. I agree. Lashley, good wrestler with no gimmick other than being big. Dude, that's all he needs to be. He's another guy, an accomplished guy in the MMA world. Big-time wrestler, like a collegiate wrestler, like Brock Lesnar. So he has that. He has MMA. He's a former military, The dude's got everything. He just has to be a badass. And that's old school wrestling. Not everyone needs a gimmick. Like Lashley, that's just... And Brock Lesnar, they're ass kickers. That's all they need to be. They don't need anything else. You get a mouthpiece, and they're ass kickers. I love that old school angle. I love that. But again, it's sports
I can agree with that.
But yeah, overall, it was a good match.
No, it was very
I felt Bryan
appreciated, probably.
Bryan and Joe carried it. I felt carried that
whole
definitely.
Match.
But I think that's why it was such a good match. And, of course, that was the main event. But in between that segment and the main event, I mean, you had a couple good women's matches. I'm going to be honest, couldn't catch them fully. So I'm not going to, for this week, don't beat me up. I don't have an opinion on them.
I don't remember them either.
Yeah. Master Gamer, what do you think about the Big Show? I'll answer that question. For the 500-pound guy, and then he lost weight, of course, but most athletic big guy you would ever see in the ring. You will never see like that someone like him ever again, in my opinion.
Never.
The guy was able to perform drop kicks at that weight at night. Nicest guy too. I got to meet him out in the Denny's, believe it or not, after Royal Rumble 2004, where he was the last guy eliminated by Chris Benoit. So of course he was a member of SmackDown at that time. I got to meet him and John Cena before his big push in 2004. I got to see Funaki, SmackDown #1 announcer. But overall, Big Show, big guy, nice guy too. Got to shake his hand, big hand. Got a picture. I'll eventually find that and I'll show you and I'll put it on social media. And got his autograph. And very nice guy. So, always thought he was entertainment, regardless whether if it was comedic or he was serious. I thought he was a great talent in the ring.
Of all the people that Ric Flair has faced in his career, he says the Big Show is the greatest big man.
Yep. Yeah, and you'll never get a guy like that again. I really
That's
don't think
just,
so.
to me, that's astronomical. A guy that wrestled 40 plus years picked him of all people. Would you have guessed that without knowing?
Oh, I would have guessed Dusty Rhodes. That's the first guy I would have thought of.
Yeah, this man said Paul White.
Yep. And that shows it because there
People
was a lot
like
of.
Paul White. Who the fuck is? Yeah.
Well, Big Show, same thing. You're good. Well, you know what's funny though? It's like there was a time where they sent him down to OVW because of his attitude. He needed an attitude adjustment, and then they brought him back up, and look what he's become.
Well, that was every WCW had that attitude because they got pushed to the moon from the jump. So when they finally came to WWE, they thought the same was going to happen again, and they were in for a reality check.
All right, Apple Sacks, but at some point you need something. Lesnar is great at drawing crowd, I guess, crowd, but you don't have anything else. The crowd gets bored, like with Lesnar's title reign. Yeah, well, the title reign is just to beat CM Punk's current title record. That's pretty much like an FU to CM Punk. That's the only reason. I think 2 days before Money in the Bank, he'd be the official record holder, so he'll probably drop the title at SummerSlam. That's my feeling on that. So, going back to, of course, we talked about the opening segment, then the main event, but there was something in between, and this is the old school wrestling fan in me, and it's a Shinsuke Nakamura Ty Dillinger Perfect 10 match. In between the women's matches and all. So, to me, it was a great match, but it was a one-sided match. But it was a great build-up match for Shinsuke.
It did a lot for his heel character.
Oh, yes, it did. And I love
it. Probably was the segment, match, whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of what won me over on Shinsuke as far as the heel part is concerned. Still not a big fan of the back and forth build with that feud, but as far as for his heel character, that what clinched it for me.
All right. Well, the one thing I loved about that whole match was he played up to the stipulation. 1, 2, 3. Anytime he had Ty Dillinger on the ground, he did the 10 count. It was like the old school days where you played to the stipulation. You would see that in the slow build the matches. Like the Hulk Hogan Ultimate Warrior of WrestleMania 6. The test of strength.
What are you doing, honey?
They will run into each other. To see who's the stronger one. They did it at Royal Rumble. They did it prior to WrestleMania 6. They did it at a couple shows. It was an old school build that you don't see a lot today.
And it was just an added bonus that Ty Dillinger does the 10 count, and he was kind of mocking that in a way too.
Yeah, I love it.
It was fantastic.
Yeah, I loved it. Did you want the person? I'm sorry. Did you want the person who won the Royal Rumble? What, Shinsuke? Dude, great talent. From New Japan and all. I've been watching his stuff on YouTube a lot recently. Yeah, he was the right guy. Right time. I really feel that way.
I don't have an issue with it.
No.
I was shocked at the heel turn, though. I have to admit, I was shocked at it when it first happened. But it was the first time in a long time that I was shocked.
That was a swerve.
I kind of turned on at the same time.
It was a great swerve. Yes, it was. Dude, I love the heel character. It's so much better. I think it brought a lot more out of Shinsuke than he was when he was a face. When he became a heel, it brought a lot more. And when you're a heel, you're able to do a lot more than being a clean face, baby face. You can't do as much when you're a heel. Sky's the limit, man. You can do whatever the hell you want. That's why when I did backyard wrestling, I loved being the heel. I loved being the asshole. I was that cocky. I'm a small guy, but I was a cocky, arrogant bastard that I will get underneath your skin. I will throw you off your game to the point that's how I would defeat my opponents. That's how my character was. You could do that when you're a heel.
Definitely.
You can't do that as a face. All right, so now with that being said, with those great matches, what would you rate SmackDown? Even though it was the day after Memorial Day.
I'd probably be close to 3. And the reason I say 3 is because, to me, you lose a point off the shoot because of Big Cass. So I'm already starting at a 4. And they're just, as much as I did not mind how the Joe Cass Bryan thing played out and the Shin stuff was fantastic, there really wasn't anything else rememberable about SmackDown. So I would say 3.
Mm-hmm. Me, I would actually give it a 3.5. I didn't like the swerve that they brought in Big Cass into the mix, but it turned out to be a good match. I love the Shinsuke Nakamura. You know, that match was good. It was good for him. It was good for his character. Also played to the last man standing match with AJ Styles. So, the women's matches, like, I caught bits and pieces. I thought it was, pretty good. I felt bad. Please don't beat me up, people. But I didn't catch all of it. Next week, I'll make sure I'll cover it. But
I'll try not to fall asleep during it.
Okay. But for me, even though it was the day after Memorial Day, I felt it was a good show. So 3.5 on my end.
Is there really anything entertaining about the women on SmackDown besides Carmella, though? Is there really anything else to care about? Female-wise on SmackDown? I mean, they didn't even have Iconics on this week.
No, they didn't. I think that's pretty much it. Iconics. That's why I think when they go to Fox, you're going to see more bigger names over there. I think, what's her name in NXT? Ronda's friend. She will be on SmackDown. I could see that. Do you agree with Cass being a heel? When you're a 7-foot guy, what else could you be at this point? I mean, being a face, I think they got enough right now. I think they needed a heel on SmackDown. So, yeah, I think I kind of agree with it. And again, like I just said, with Shinsuke Nakamura, it built his character. It brought more out of him. You're not seeing much now because Cass it's kind of bland right now at the moment, but there's something there. And when he finds it, he will be a big star. He has to get to that point. That's my thing about Cass.
I just don't know if he's going to find it.
Well, we'll give it time, man. You just got to give it time. I mean, they gave plenty of people chances. Look at Roman Reigns, which we'll get into in a moment. But before that, let's go into the list, ladies and gentlemen. All right. And this is a segment on the show where we give our power rankings of the week, and I'll give mine. You have yours ready too?
Yeah.
You want to go first, or you want me to?
I can go first.
All right, you go first then. By all means, sir. The floor is yours.
Let me put on my invisible glasses here.
Well, I should have brought mine, actually.
First, I have an honorable mention.
Oh, okay. I'd like to hear that. Go ahead.
This is going to sneak preview for later also.
Okay.
Honorable mention to Roman Reigns just simply because he was not on Raw. So for that reason alone,
wow,
he's an honorable mention.
Yeah, you're going to get a lot of Roman Reigns bashing on the show. I have a feeling about this.
Oh, yeah, I haven't even got started on that shit yet.
Okay.
All right.
Go with number 5.
Coming in on 5, I have the B Team.
Ooh.
Because I am completely sold on the B Team. In my personal opinion, they can do no wrong.
Okay.
And Curtis Axel reminds me of the quirky Shawn Michaels that he played in the second run-in of DX. Just the total, you don't know what the man's going to do. He's absolutely gold. The only thing missing, I want Bo to kind of bring back the Bo Leave thing.
That is a great example. Great example. I like that. All right, go ahead.
Number 4 is a guy that we did not talk about. It was on our original rundown sheet, but Drew McIntyre.
Ooh, okay. Well,
the reason I put Drew on there is because the Drew I remember from 4 or 5 years ago in his first run is not this Drew McIntyre. This Drew McIntyre looks...
Hey, great one.
You know how we kind of talked before about Big Cass looking a little clunky out there?
Yeah.
Drew McIntyre does not. He looks like he has his complete package figured out, who he is, and he looks like a beast out there. To me, my list is kind of more focused on guys right now that are hitting on all cylinders, if that makes more sense.
No, I agree with that. I think you're going to see a potential title run. Not for Raw. I think SmackDown I think
not in the very
I
not
think
too
in the
distant future.
I think in about a couple years. Give it a couple
Okay,
years.
and then my first somewhat surprise for me anyway is Shinsuke at 3.
Okay, all right.
And the reason I put Shinsuke at 3 is because it's I finally bought in today, or on SmackDown. Sorry, I bought in the other night for the first time. I just loved everything he did, and I was just completely sold. Like I said, whole package.
Okay.
And then at number 2, I got Samoa Joe.
Ooh, okay.
They gave him the victory, which I was very pleased with. I probably, if they didn't give him that victory, I probably wouldn't have had him so high on the list right now.
Can I ask you a question real quick, though?
Yes.
Now, do you think they went with Samoa Joe for that final spot because of his days in the X division and what he did in those matches? Do you think that has something to do with it because of what he was able to do in those matches? But when they had the X on the top of the ring and you would have to go for it? And what they did to get to it?
I think in part they know he can handle his own in that. You're right, but I don't think that's why they did.
Okay.
I
kind of felt that way.
My number one reason is because I think he's going to be the one that wins Money in the Bank.
Okay. All right.
Because if it's not going to be Bobby Lashley that takes the strap off of Brock, I can see
you see him going back to Raw?
Huh?
You see him going back to Raw?
I do.
That would be unique because think about this. When did a guy jump over to another brand to cash in? Has that been done?
I don't think so. But
I don't think so either. That's a great
I know
take.
it's a off the wall prediction. I'm not 100% comfortable with it yet.
Yeah.
But Brock and Samoa Joe did have a major beef before Samoa Joe got injured, talking about how he could whoop his ass, and he closely lost that one match they did have.
Yeah.
I can see Brock retaining the belt at SummerSlam and Samoa Joe cashing in on it.
That is.
I think it could be done. Tricky, yeah. But I have a feeling that it's going to be Samoa Joe winning Money in the Bank.
Oh, man. That's a great take. You got me there, man. All right, so going on. Who you got number 1?
Mainly because I don't remember the last time this guy had a bad segment or match, and that's Seth Rollins.
Okay.
I know, I wasn't going to put a champion on my list at first. But every match this dude has, you're virtually talking about him stealing the show. Maybe not so much this past week on Raw. Maybe, sure. But he is the number one guy on TV every week right now. So
he is your world champion, technically, if you want to be technical.
Yeah, so I'm going to have to go with him at number 1.
Okay. All right, well, sadly, people are going to beat me up. Seth Rollins didn't make it this week. Sadly, he didn't. The DQ, I felt, hurt him. So, here, I'm going to go number 5. Again, you might beat me up. Shinsuke. He got in. I love the whole building to the last man standing. It was a good match with the perfect 10. But, I'm sorry, number 5. I figured if it was a bigger opponent going into that and playing off that angle, I think he would have been up a lot higher than 5. Number 4, Drew McIntyre. I'm with you on that one because, dude, this is the thing. Everyone's saying, like, why aren't they building Bobby Lashley, even though he's been out of the company for a while? Drew McIntyre, yeah. But also, Drew McIntyre was brought up the WWE. He left and then came back, but it wasn't 10 years. So they're building him up the right way.
Did they do the right thing also by building him up in NXT first?
Yeah.
I think they did.
Yeah, and I felt, because again, we'll talk about this, because in the corner you want to do a Ronda Rousey thing. I said earlier on your gaming stream, Ronda Rousey should have went through NXT. It would have helped her character as far as Mike and everything, but again, that's another subject. We'll get into that later. Number 3, so we got Shinsuke at 5, Drew at 4. Number 3, Nia Jax. And it's a unique take because I felt that.
I can't wait to hear this one.
Well, It's because she was a face going into WrestleMania. She wins the title. She challenges Ronda Rousey. And here she is explaining and shit talking in the ring. Now she's destroying her opponent. This woman, I thought it was great. I saw that. When's the last time you seen something like that? You're just taunting the whole time.
I guess from an entertainment point of view, it was very entertaining.
I thought it was too, and I thought it bumped her up big time.
I don't know if I was necessarily a big fan of it, but I was entertained. It was one of those smiles like, man, I can't believe they're actually doing this kind of smile.
Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah.
All right, so that's my number 3. Number 2, Kevin Owens, of course, big win against over Bobby Roode. I think the reason I put him up this high is because, you're going to see eventually he's going to go for a push for the title too. Which one, I don't know. But it was, again, we were talking about how Bobby Roode's matches have been kind of stale since he's been brought up to the main roster. Kevin Owens brought that out of him and performed. It was a great match. So, believe it or not, it seems like a weak excuse or idea to put him at number 2, but that's why I put him at number 2 this week. It was a great match against a good opponent. It built him up a little bit. I think it helped him more than hurt him. It didn't hurt either one of them. So, number 2 is that. Number 1, of course, you may agree or not, Samoa Joe. Of course, winning the qualifier going into Money in the Bank. I said I interpreted it because I felt like what he was able to do in the X Division matches, they probably could see, oh, this guy could probably do something with this match, and I can't wait for that match. That I'm really excited for the most out of Money in the Bank, besides the IC title match. But next to it is that, of course, the Money in the Bank, the one that everyone goes to see. So number 1, Samoa Joe for me this week.
Is Samoa Joe the only guy in this match that you could see cashing in the briefcase on either team?
On what? I'm sorry, you went low there.
No, is he the only one that's in this match that you could see winning and cashing in on either Brock or AJ?
That's why I said that was a unique take, because that was his way of getting his chance again. Because he obviously can't do it because he's on SmackDown. So, dude, that would
I guess if they specify that he can only cash in on SmackDown, then that mutes my whole point of that. But
oh, well, we got a question. Do you all think Strowman or Balor will win Money in the Bank or someone else? I have to agree with my partner here. I think it's going to be Samoa Joe. I really think so.
I think you're gold whoever he cashes in on, too. Like, we all know the AJ connection, even if they don't talk about it. We know it.
Oh, it's the Ring of Honor days, and they kind of brought that up when they were hitting the one-on-one match.
Yeah, but their feud hit high cylinders in TNA, not Ring of Honor, really, but...
Yeah. But I can't see... Like I said, Strowman, you got to get that slow build. You got to let him develop more. He's just about there. You saw the thing he did at WrestleMania with the kid. That was the kid that went over on the kids. He did the mixed match challenge. That's the win the women over, which he's doing. Now it's like you give this time, give him his time to develop more, gain more experience. The slow build and the ultimate payoff, and it would be a disservice if we do it any sooner, is WrestleMania. That's my feeling on that.
Speaking on his mic skills are getting a hell of a lot better than they were a few months ago.
Mm-hmm. And again, allow it, just like the B team. You don't give them the straps right away. You're only going to hurt them, because if you give them the titles early, it's like, oh, all right, well, these characters work, let's stick with this. And before you know it, it's done. Because they hurt themselves because they figured they gave them the titles because of the characters they are now.
Exactly.
And they're not going to develop anymore.
Makes sense.
Do you feel about Owens' chances? Me personally, as a fan, I would either want Kevin Owens or Samoa Joe to win. I see Samoa Joe winning. That's who I feel is going to win. I would love either Kevin Owens or Samoa Joe. I like both of them. Great big talent. Balor needs to go back to his demon character. He needs to he needs to find himself again. It's gone. I feel you turned me on that believe it or not, Shep, when we talked about that a couple weeks ago on PlayStation. But Strowman, again, you got to give him time. It's either going to... It could be either Owens. It could be either Samoa Joe. Everything from what I'm reading, it's Samoa Joe. And
would you be shocked if they pulled a big wool over our heads and in that Money in the Bank match, Finn Balor come out as a demon? Can it happen still? Or is he refusing to do it now? I guess we don't know.
If he did, it would be great. I think it would.
I mean, can you imagine Demon Balor finding it out at the top of the ladder with Samoa Joe? That would be epic.
It seems like Money in the Bank is full of heels. Yeah, kind of for the most part, but
because even Finn Balor's kind of a heel-ish. He does more heel tactics than he does face tactics. I can see it.
All right, Strowman. He's got a face, but Balor is technically a face more than a heel. You got Owens that's a heel. Samoa Joe that's technically a heel. But here's the other thing. You're going to probably... If he was to go and stick around with the SmackDown, you're going to need a guy, a heel... Actually, no, that wouldn't work because you wouldn't have a heel against a heel. That's why I'm thinking your theory of him going to Raw might actually work.
I can see it.
Samoa
it
Joe.
Depends if they specify that.
Imagine Samoa Joe and Braun Strowman for the title at WrestleMania. Because Samoa Joe would be able to take it to him. He ain't going to just sit there and get his ass whipped.
Samoa Joe is just... He's on another level compared to everybody else.
Yeah, dude, I don't know. You really got me thinking on that. You pulled a little swerve on me tonight, buddy. With that. Yeah, I wasn't thinking that.
I had a little shock with that.
It makes sense. It makes total sense. The Demon is a special attraction. Vince wants Finn to be undefeated as the Demon, so it'll only be a few times a year, I think. Yeah, it sucks. Ironically, there aren't a lot of real heels. No, it really isn't. You know what, Apple Sacks, you hit it right there. A lot of people, you don't see that too much these days. Back in the day, you had guys that were just natural heels the whole career. Think about it. Bad News Brown, if we were going to the 80s. Think of any heel wrestler that was a heel the whole career. $1 Million Man. Then, you don't see it today because a lot of people feel like, all right, well, if I'm a face, I get merchandise sell. You know, I get sell more merch, and I make more money. But you know what? I thought of it this way. It would be a game changer where you could have someone like The Miz remain a heel. Any heel that thinks and wants to remain a heel, you pay them more because they're not going to make that money through merch. Give them more
that's true.
Compared to a face. If someone freaking does that for them, it'll change a lot, and you'll see more heels that would never become a face again. Miz is a natural
you have
heel.
way too many faces that are trying heel tactics nowadays.
Well, someone's got to figure that out and start doing that. Because it'd be a game changer if they would pay someone to remain a heel. Pay them more just to be a heel, nothing else. It would be a game changer. All right, so we did our, of course, the list. So we're going to move into our final segment. I guess we'll do the 20-minute another night because we're going in 2 hours here. And that is, of course, in the corner. Now, this week, our topic of discussion is Roman Reigns. Oh, hold on a second. Sorry, buddy.
Got the little graphic up.
Huh?
There you go.
What's that?
I just looked over at the stool. Oh, you're talking.
Okay. Sorry, my nephew over here. Alright, so I want to give you the first question. Do you feel that they should stop pushing Reigns?
I think Reigns should just plain and simple go away for a while and either come back as a heel or don't come back at all. I'm done.
He's a natural heel. I could see that. His persona comes off that way, too. Nothing Roman Reigns... Nothing I see is face. It's heel. It's bad guy.
And I don't understand, like you can point out you can tell they're setting up Brian for Mania. They're setting this guy up for this and setting this guy up for that. Nobody knows what they're setting Roman Reigns up for. He's just out there doing the same promo all the time. And how in the blue hell are you going to have this man for 3 months straight bitch and moan in his promos about Brock Lesnar not showing up, and then Roman Reigns wasn't on Raw?
Yeah, all right.
I don't get it. I don't get the logic.
Yeah, no.
Maybe I'm looking for logic where there's not supposed to be logic. Okay?
Well, they want to be the guy, and people aren't accepted that. It's like we've seen this before with The Rock in '96. They want him to be the guy. The fans saw that. They're smarter now as they were 20 years ago. They're a lot smarter now. They're not going to accept it.
But what did they do, speaking on The Rock, in them early days when he wasn't taken off as fast as they wanted him to?
When he came back from the injury, quote-unquote injury.
No. Go back to the very beginning. Right after he ditched Rocky Maivia,
he joined the Nation.
He started doing the face. No, he did the face rock stuff at first.
Yeah.
And it was not working. So they immediately hit the reset button and put him with the Nation. Then by the time he turned on the Nation, then it was just off to the races from there. And then, came back as a heel sometimes, then went back to the face, all this and that. He's one of the few talents that could continuously do that.
Well, here's the thing.
Is the fact they never hit the reset on Reigns, is it too little too late now?
Yeah. But go back to what you were saying, though. What did The Rock really change from 97, late 97, to, like, pretty much 04? Is where you last saw. Well, full time. Did he change anything?
He really... He didn't. The only thing I guess you can say is he started putting down the crowd more.
He kind of did that regardless when he was a face or a heel. He did the same material.
No, but he started doing all his usual catchphrases towards the crowd as far as the know your role and shut your mouth. When he was a face, he only said that to the other wrestlers. When he was a heel, he was saying that to the crowd, too.
Yeah, all right. But his, well, I wouldn't say character, personality never changed. It's just how the fans took it, like, perceived it. I think that's the only thing that changed over that time. But, again, they got to pull a reset on him. Take him out for a little bit. Let him take time. Come back. And team him up with someone, but also as a turn. Now,
exactly.
You can push
Have
Reigns.
Him come back to make the save for somebody you think he's going to make the save for.
The old-fashioned. Yep.
Absolutely destroy him instead.
Yep. Applesack says you can push Reigns as a heel, but he has to step away. It's not just him or his gimmick. It's overexposure. Exactly. Because they're doing everything they can. Because, again, he comes from royalty, Alpha, the Samoans, he comes from that background. So they were trying, I guess they just thought that was enough for him to push him, make him the guy, and people were going to accept that, and they're not.
No, they're just not. And I think they're slowly starting to realize this. And let's be honest, his outside of ring drama is nothing to be ignored either.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can't keep your name in the headlines about drug use. I'm sorry, it's like the Barry Bonds syndrome in baseball. You can't keep having your name out there just because you're not testing positive. And that's a good point right there. The Shield gear, that's played out. Like, really?
Yeah. Oh, you saw that. Okay, yeah. Yeah, drop the Shield gear. Yep. You got to. You have to. And you got to at least take the time, build a whole new persona, and then bring him back as a heel. And now that we said that, in the last couple years, when would you think at any point where he was still championship material? When do you think that was?
I think it's been over a year, at least, since he was championship material.
Well, I think from my research, I think 3 years. I think the first match with Brock was it. Since then, I've seen a big decline on his character, everything. I think 3 years ago. Not so much after 2016. I don't think that worked for him either.
The only reason I said about a year is because it really seemed like, I don't remember the exact moments. I should have looked on this a little more, but about a year or so ago, they were really playing it up when he started talking to the crowd all the time. I don't need to please you and stuff like that. When they were teasing the heel turn, I'm like, all right, they get it. They're gonna do it soon.
My
and
yard.
I was like, what's that?
The my yard where he goes, "This is my yard." That one is that?
Yeah.
One? Yeah.
After he beat Undertaker, I thought this was it. I thought they finally got it, and we were getting it. And then they did the John Cena thing. You're not getting it.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever reason.
Yeah.
And
it is weird.
I think they ruined the man's career.
Oh, okay, Apple Sacks. Thank you for popping in. And thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. Thank you. No, I agree with you. I agree with you on that. Here we go. Now that we discussed that, like the championship material when he was, and we talked about the family legacy, the remedy of the problem is obviously taken away, bring him back as a heel because he is a natural heel. That's what he comes off as a heelish. His actions now are kind of heelish. But at this point, though, when he does come back, do you have 3 people that you would pick to pair up against him? Who would you pick and why? Just a real quick thing.
I think if you're going to continue to keep Bobby Lashley as a face, I would pick Bobby, just simply because from a physical standpoint, he can definitely hang right away.
Yep. Yeah, I agree with you.
I would have said Drew McIntyre if he comes back as a face. If Roman's back as a face, I would say Drew. It could be a damn good way to get Drew over, even more than he already is.
That would have been good.
But I don't really know who else you can put him against if Reigns does come at as a heel. So in that aspect, that is a little bit of a problem.
I got 2. His old Shield partner, Seth Rollins. He's hot. He's got the IC title. God knows where he'd be if he would take time away and then come back where Rollins would be. That would be
they could recreate the Rollins turn, I suppose. Yeah, you're right. And then just have Roman come out there like he's going to save him in a bad situation and just obliterate him with a chair to the back. Yep,
exactly.
That would be a hell of a way to do it.
And people would say, "Oh, well, that's cheap. They're just reusing it." But think about anything that's happened in the last 20 years. You don't think it's been reused? Or they just repackaged it in a different way? Think about anything that's been done that's never been done before. It's kind of hard at this point. When you have something,
if you're going to reuse something, would that not be the thing to reuse?
Oh,
is reuse the same turn from the same guy, but against them?
No, I think it would work great.
Because Reigns was the one he hit with the chair, too.
Yep. And then Ambrose stared at him awkwardly, and then he eventually attacked, and he got hit with the chair. But, yeah, I think that would be a good one. Believe it or not, here's my other guy, because I agree with Lashley. That was my second guy. Okay? Third one. Now, bear with me on this. Braun Strowman. Because if you're going to have a heelish Roman Reigns, wouldn't you think there would be like it would bring it out of him how he's going to defeat a guy like Braun Strowman. It's going to take a guy that will go any way he can to defeat him. And like I said before earlier in the broadcast, a heel could do a lot more than a face. And that would it would be a great build.
The only reason I don't like that is because we've been there, done that.
Yeah,
but depending on how they pulled it off, they could possibly pull it off right, and it might come out different. I might have a different opinion about it.
Well, here's the question. When did they first do that?
The first thing when Braun pushed him on the stretcher off the ramp or when Braun tipped over the ambulance. I forget.
Either one. That was about a year ago, right?
Yeah.
Okay, think about him then, talk about Strowman, then compared to now. You don't think there would be a big
he
difference
is
in
more
the
of
angle?
a face now, too.
Yeah, you don't think
He
that's
was
a
more
big...
of a heel back then.
Yep, and there you go. I think it will work better this time. That's what I see. Like,
But out of all the scenarios we just talked about, which one would make you the more nervous if that's the route they chose, though?
which
I would
guy?
be nervous about a Braun feud. Because it has to be done right. With Lashley, you can just beat the piss out of him. You can't really fuck that up.
Nah.
With the Rollins, turning on Rollins, you can't really fuck that up. With Braun, I would be nervous that they could fuck that one up.
You're right, but if they had with the right writing, I think they could do it. And it's gonna have to take a little creativity, and they need to if they were to think of going that route. But again, this is all speculation. We don't even know if they're gonna go that route,
Just
having them step away for a little bit and then come back. I don't see that.
Just a heads up, my phone got about 10% left.
Oh, okay. Well, we're gonna be getting off in a few anyway.
Just
but we'll do the best of the best tournament on next week's show. So, all right. So, at the end of all this, in a nutshell, we both agree that I think they should just let him walk away for a little bit and come back. Just come back, and then who they pair him up with, I think again Seth Rollins I feel would be the best choice. But we got to see what they do. I think
one other idea that did, honestly, this is the first time this popped in my head, and I don't know why this is the first time, but could they bring him back in a few months as a heel and team him up with the returning Dean Ambrose as a heel?
That would be a good one.
And just have them both come out and obliterate Seth Rollins.
But then you would feel that's more of a tag team, though, too. But it could be a faction.
No, but almost bring them in like
a faction.
When they brought back Ziggler and McIntyre, bring
okay.
them in as that physical, dominant presence.
Mm-hmm. I get what you're saying. No, that could work, actually. But
Speaking
again,
of, when are we going to see Dean, though? A little off topic at the end here, but
I didn't research on the ETA. I'll take a look and we'll have it for next week's show. WrestleMania match, Cross Brand against Daniel Bryan. Yeah. That would be okay, but I think they're trying to stay away from that. Actually, they just want to have a certain events, Money in the Bank, Survivor Series. I think they're trying to stay away from that. Cross brand matches. I think they. You could see it. We're 2 years in. They haven't really done that yet. I think they should stay away from that. In my opinion, you keep your guys on one show, the others on the other show. Don't mix it up. You got too much talent and only so much TV time to promote them, and But well, since you're coming up, your phone dying. I guess we'll end the show right there. Everyone that popped in, thank you so much, man. This is the first episode, of course. It got a little rocky in the beginning, but hey.
Well, yeah, technical difficulties.
It happens, but hey, 2 hours in, and we still didn't cover like half the stuff. So
now I just gotta go stretch out these old bones now.
Yep. All right, everybody. Well, thank you for tuning in. Shep, promote your Twitch channel real quick before we get off.
I should have copied it last time.
All right. Well, for the people that are watching and not looking in the chat, twitch.tv/dshep1979. dshep, that's DSHEP 1979.
Yeah, check that out. Streaming a lot of MLB, Madden, and soon to be some WWE 2K.
Yeah, we're going to get into that later on. Again, this is the first show. We're going to do it every Saturday night, 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you everyone for tuning in. We actually got a good response on Mixer. We got a great response on Twitch. Not so much on YouTube, but that's okay. That's mainly there for the archives. That's where you're going to catch most of our archives. And if you don't catch it, we always have it for Sunday morning for you to watch. Thank you so much. And anything before we go, Shep?
No, just want to thank everybody for stopping in, even though not exactly the most pretty looking bunch here, but we gave our opinion. Hopefully
We
you
gotta.
know, we did pretty good with this. I think we did though.
Yeah,
First show.
I think we did pretty good for the first show. But again, I'm gonna look back on this about a year from now, and I want to shit on it because I know we're going to.
We're gonna have to do like 6 months, a year from now, and just do epic fail throwback clips or something.
Yeah. All right, folks. We'll see you next time on the Go Home Wrestling Show. Take it easy.
Peace.